Hi everyone, good day. So let's discuss another topic for today. The title, of course, of this topic is about strategies in teaching reading. Well, reading is far more than simply decoding words on a page. It is an active, complex process of constructing meaning, critically evaluating ideas, and connecting new information to prior knowledge. As language educators, our goal as your professors, okay, all your professors, our goals, including me, of course, as your professor, our goal is to guide learners from basic word recognition to becoming confident, strategic, and independent readers. Today, as part of our module on teaching and assessment of the macro skills, we will explore effective strategies in teaching reading. We have to understand, of course, the process, the reading process, the pre-reading, during reading, and post-reading strategies. Not only that, but we also have to take note of the strategies such as implicit instruction, scaffolded reading, reciprocal teaching, and graphic organizers. At the same time, aligning reading tasks with diverse learner needs and measuring comprehension effectively. Since this topic is under the subject teaching and assessment of the macro skills, okay, uh, it's the receptive skill reading. So teachers, to equip teachers with evidence-based instructional strategies that enhance reading fluency, comprehension, and critical literacy. And our focus, of course, are the key focus areas would be pre-reading, during reading, or while reading, or post-reading. So in the pre-reading, guys, activating the schema, we could have vocabulary preview and setting a purpose. While in the during reading, we have guided reading, annotation, and monitoring comprehension. And for the post reading, we have summarizing critical analysis and assessment. So before going further, let us first define what strategy is. What's the meaning of strategy? Okay, how would we define it, or in compared to maybe you have already an idea of what is this strategy. With it's still with strategy the same? Do you think strategy is the same with method and techniques? But for today, let us first discuss what is this strategy all about, or strategies. When we speak of strategies, guys, this will just be a review on our part. Strategies are in, intentional. These are intentional structural plans of action designed to, of course, to achieve specific long-term goals or overcome challenges efficiently. So in an educational content, specifically regarding language instruction and literacy, strategies refer to the deliberate methods, techniques. I mentioned this one a while ago, methods and techniques now. To the deliberate methods, techniques, and cognitive comprehension and active specific learning outcomes. Okay, so here we will be discussing a lot of strategies. I may not be mentioned, I could not mention all of them in one setup like this. Maybe we could have it in the others next session as we go along. But I'll be providing some of the strategies that we could use or that you could use in teaching reading. But let us first also define, beside from strategy, let us first define what reading is all about, okay? Because we have their strategies in teaching reading. So when we speak of reading, guys, it is a complex cognitive process of decoding symbols such as letters, words, and punctuation to derive from written text. It is an active, interactive process where the reader connects prior knowledge with text-based information to comprehend analysis, I mean to comprehend, interpret, make interpreting ideas or and also to analyze, no? So to comprehend, analyze, and interpret ideas. Okay. So here, uh, let me discuss to you and let me mention that there are three phases of strategic reading. Take note, I mentioned this earlier. We have pre-reading, where in the pre-reading, guys, we prepare the readers to activate prior knowledge. And then during reading, while reading, we maintain engagement and monitor understanding of our students. And for the post-reading, we consolidate meaning and evaluate information. Okay, so that's the purpose of post reading. Consolidate meaning and evaluate information. Now, let's move on to the next slides. Here, okay, I have enumerated our objectives there. Okay, actually, we have here 10 strategies for reading and their importance in developing students' reading skills. I want you to identify some of these strategies and be able to differentiate one from the other. Okay, and appreciate also these strategies. Maybe you could apply it in the classroom. And then another is, of course, look into the importance of these strategies. Okay, so let's have it. Next. So here are some of those strategies. Assess student ability first. At the beginning of the school year, assess each student's reading level to identify their abilities, group them effectively, and choose the most appropriate reading strategies and tools based on their individual needs. It's very important for us to know our students well because that would be the start of knowing them. That would be start of our adjustment. What kind of strategy are we going to use that will suit their level of interest, their knowledge, and their abilities. So here, when we speak of assess student ability first, okay, the concept course, it it's the diagnostic actually baseline evaluation. It's a diagnostic baseline evaluation. We are evaluating our students, as I mentioned a while ago, before implementing any reading program that we have. Teachers must determine each learner's current decoding, fluency, and comprehension levels. So it's the baseline. It's the first step. Okay. So why it works? Prevents giving struggling readers frustratingly difficult materials. Okay, frustrating or frustration level are giving of course advanced readers and challenging text, boredom level, it enables flexible grouping, example, small groups, guided reading, and targeted intervention. So if you were able to assess your student, as I mentioned a while ago, you could adjust your kind of strategy that would, or you use a strategy that will suit their level of ability, okay? Whether they could comprehend well in the strategy that you will be using, would it suit them? So here we could, that's the first one. The first thing to do is to assess their ability, students' ability first. We have to know our students well. And then second there, we have choral reading, partner reading. So what is this? When we say it's an oral reading practice where students read aloud together as a whole class group, choral, or in pairs or partner. We have a definition here. Choral partner reading involve reading aloud together to improve students' reading fluency and confidence. These strategies also support struggling readers. That's why you do it with partners. Of course, you have to assign partners by allowing them to practice in a comfortable, engaging environment. Okay. And then we have here use of visual aids using graphic organizers help students organize ideas, reading comprehension, and better understanding text. They can be used individually or collaboratively to encourage deeper thinking and multiple perspective. That is for visual aids. Okay, that's why one of the skills in macro skills is not just reading, listening, speaking, writing, but we include visuals also. So incorporating non-linguistic presentations such as graphic organizers. So what are some examples of graphic organizers that you know? We could have Venn diagrams, story maps, story pyramids, flow charts, the KWL charts. No, there are lots of graphic organizers that we could use to, of course, to motivate our students to participate in our activity or classroom activity. So why it works? Because it transforms abstract text into structural visual concepts. Graphic organizers help students map out relationship between ideas, okay, track pilot structures and categorize information, significantly boosting deep comprehension and recall rather than putting everything in a paragraph. No, sometimes it's a kind of boring to read a lot on the board if it's a long paragraph, but if you put things, the ideas into a graphic organizer, you use a graphic organizers, you made use of symbols, it would be very easy for you to understand. It's for me. I use these graphic organizers, really a lot of graphic organizers to captivate and motivate my students to, of course, to listen, to participate in all the classroom activities that I have, rather than putting all of the words there. Okay, a long paragraph. No, okay, it would be very easy for them to recall if you use graphic organizers or use symbols in presenting your ideas. That's why we have their visual aids. So the concept here, cross-age peer tutoring, where older students are paired with younger students to read together periodical. periodically. So you have, wait, that's for assigning reading buddies, no? Okay, so here, assign reading buddies across ages or grades, meaning to say you have to form groups or assign groups, assign them groupings. And then it says there a reading buddy program pairs older or younger student to support reading development. Younger students learn through modeled reading while older students build leadership confidence and mentoring mentoring skills. So you paired them younger to maybe old students to a younger one so that they will be helping each other. Okay, so this serves a dual pedagogical purpose actually. So younger students benefit from hearing fluent reading modeled by a peer, while older students reinforce their own foundational skills, build self-efficacy, and develop leadership and mentoring capacities. And then we have here improvement audiobooks. So we have there using audiobooks inside reading helps improve students' reading accuracy, especially when combined with phonics instruction. Okay, so here we could integrate audio recordings of text alongside physical print. Okay, so bridges the this would of course the bridges the gap, no, how why it works or why it works because it bridges the gap between recording ability and listening comprehension. And struggling readers can access a grade level content and complex vocabulary above their independent reading level without being hindered by decoding bottlenecks. It's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to read. Okay, that's why we have to guide our students, especially young ones now, if you don't know how to read. Sometimes they're already adult and yet they do not know how to read well. So we have to guide them while they are reading. So there are a lot of strategies that we could use to help our students. So when combined with explicit phonics, it reinforces word recognition and accurate pronunciation. So that's how we implement audiobooks. Okay, and then let's have another slide here. Teach academic English. It says there, teaching academic and subject-specific vocabulary helps improve students' reading comprehension. Strong vocabulary instruction benefits all learners, especially English language learners, by enhancing their overall reading skills. So here we have to this this slide here focuses on advanced cognitive strategies. Okay, it talks about text structures and engagement methods to build comprehension and reading stamina of our students. So in teach academic English, the very concept of this is that explicit instruction of formal subject specific vocabulary like tier 2 and tier 3 words and academic syntax rather than relying on conversational English. So why it works? Students struggle students often struggles, right, with content areas, text. Sometimes they couldn't really understand, okay, especially in their subject, science, history, literature. Not because they can't decode, but because they lack specific vocabulary. That's why in English, before you read the story, you have to give the meaning of some of the words that are it's hard for them to understand before letting them read the whole story. So you have to at least select, select words that are for the student hardly for the students that are hardly they couldn't really understand the meaning of the word. So you have to get the meaning of the word so that they could understand it well. They could understand the story well. Okay, so here, okay, I mentioned about how it works. Okay, so it's not because they can understand, but because they lack a specific vocabulary, as I told you. So directly teaching root words, prefixes, context clues, and formal terms gives learners, especially English language learners, the linguistic tools to unlock complex texts. There are also strategies that we could use in presenting this vocabulary, the words to them by using vocabulary. I mean, by using graphic organizers. Okay, so maybe we could have it in another session. Okay, so as of now, I'll be just be presenting some of the strategies. There are at least 10 strategies here that were enumerated, but I will be adding more to what we'll be presenting here. Okay, and then we have here have students summarize what they read. Okay, so have students summarize what they read, what they have read. Okay, what students summarize what they've read. So having students write a summary after reading helps improve comprehension, identify key ideas, and strengthen retention for struggling learners using the 5 W's and 1 H: who, what, when, where, why, and how. These are the WH questions, actually. We call it as WH questions. Is an effective alternative. Okay? So synthesizing main ideas into a concise restatement after reading using framework like this, the 5 W's and the 1 H, or the WH questions, no, for scaffolding. So why it works? Because summarizing forces students to distinguish between essential details and minor fillers. The 5 W's and 1 H framework breaks down actually a complex task into manageable steps, aiding retention and ensuring students actively track narrative and informational flow. And then we have there expose students to different discourse patterns. So the explanation to this, it says there students expose students to different text types, such as articles and personal letters to develop diverse reading and comprehension skills. This broadens their ability to understand both narrative and non-narrative texts. So, what's the main concept of this? Introducing diverse texts, structures, and genres, including narrative, like stories, expository, like articles, reports, persuasive, like essays, and procedural, like manuals and letters. So, how it works, different genres follow unique structural logic. Example, actually, this is another strategy, cause and effect. Not only that, we also have problem solution, chronological order. Okay, so recognizing these text structures allow readers to anticipate how important information or anticipate how information will unfold read or will unfold, making comprehension faster and more systematic. Okay, so next is that we have there, let students choose the books they read. So allowing students to choose reading materials based on their student interests, their interest increases motivation, engagement, and enthusiasm for reading. Okay, so incorporating independent. Okay, so they have the they have their free will to choose. So incorporating independent or structure selected reading materials into the curriculum to foster learner autonomy. Choose directly impact intrinsic motivation and self efficacy. So when learners select text aligned with their interests, background knowledge, and reading comfort level, time spent reading increases sig- significantly, yeah, which naturally improves vocabulary and reading endurance. So we let them select the reading material that they want. Why? Because if they will be the one to select the reading material, it would be very easy for them because they have the interest of reading that one. Okay, that's why if you actually I designed a program for this, I the dear program. So drop everything and read, that's the dear program. So in this program, we are allowing every day we're allowing students to read. They could bring, there's a corner in a classroom because we allow them to bring their book and then select a story and then read for a while. So it's part of the reading program. They're the one actually selecting the reading material that they want. Somewhat that will, of course, it's their interest really. No, we are not just imposing such, but their willingness to read that story. It's very important that they have that interest. Okay, so we value their likes. Okay, we give importance to their preference. Okay, and then the last one, how students read the same context multiple times, fluency oriented reading instruction encourages students to read the same text multiple times in different ways to improve reading fluency and pronunciation. Repeated reading or fluency-oriented reading instruction, where students reread a passage multiple times for different pedagogical purposes. Okay. So multiple times. Why? Because sometimes if you just read one time only, sometimes you couldn't really get what the meaning. Even I myself, I have to read the statements, the paragraph, not only once but twice and sometimes thrice for me to really understand everything and really I could absorb everything in mind. So same with the students, no. So they also need to we are giving them free will also to giving them time to understand what they're reading. Okay, so multiple, that's why we have their rereading, repeated reading or fluency oriented reading instruction, where students reread a passage multiple times for different pedagogical purposes. Okay, so why it works: on the first pass, cognitive effort is heavily spent on word recognition and decoding. Subsequent readings free up working memory, allowing the reader to focus on expression, automaticity deeper context, and higher order thinking skills. Okay, so these are some of those strategies, but I will be adding to this. I do not know if you have encountered reciprocal teaching. Okay, so these are some of those cognitive strategies. So we have reciprocal teaching. So students take on the role of the teacher in small groups using four structured prompts: predicting, classifying unknown words, questioning the text, and summarizing main points. Okay, so I repeat, these are some of the I will be telling you comprehension and cognitive strategies. We have reciprocal teaching, think aloud. It's very important. I like this metacognitive modeling. So here, teachers verbalize their own thought processes while reading aloud, demonstrating how to handle confusing sentences, make connections, or infer implicit meanings. I mentioned also KWL charts. Know, want to know, learn. I'm always using this. What what do you want to know about the subject? What do you know about the subject? What do you want to know about the subject? What have you learned about the subject? So a three-stage graphic technique used before, during, and after reading to activate prior knowledge, set a purpose, and track newly acquired concept. And then we have survey question rate, read, recitation, review. Survey question, survey question, read, recite, review. So SQ3R. So this is a multi-step strategy or study strategy where readers preview headings, survey, form questions, that's question, read purposely, that's read, restate key ideas in their own words, that's to recite, and test their retention, that's for review. Okay, another for active engagement and fluency building, we also have this strategy, the jigsaw cooperative reading. A complex text is broken into smaller sections with different students groups becoming experts on their assigned section before teaching it to their peers. Readers theater, this is a good strategy. Actually, I've used this. So readers theater is another one. Students rehearse and perform a script adapted from a text without memorizing lines, prioritizing vocal expression, pacing, and of course, prosody over staging. Okay, so that's readers theater. Okay, and then we have the RTA, directed reading thinking activity. Here, the teacher poses reading at strategy checkpoints to ask students to make prediction, to ask students to make conclusions, or they could also make predictions, justify their reasoning with textual evidence, and verify their hypothesis as the text unfolds. So that's DR TA, directed reading thinking activities. And for the vocabulary and structure analysis, you may use these strategies also, like morphological analysis. So what is this? Teaching students to break down, of course, multisyllabic words into prefixes, roots, and suffixes to unlock the meaning of unfamiliar academic vocabulary. And the last one could also be, we have semantic feature analysis using a creed to compare and contrast related vocabulary terms or concept based on shared distinct traits. Okay, so let's have, okay, okay, to, unless you have questions, guys, if you'd like to ask questions, you may ask questions now. Okay, so take note, guys. So I just would like to summarize everything what I've said. Okay, so take note of the comprehensive skill integration, wherein effective reading instruction requires a balanced approach that combines diagnostic assessment, explicit instruction, and varied text structure to support diverse learning styles. And then by combining, of course, the scaffolding techniques that we have, such as audio books and reciprocal teaching with opportunities for independent book choice, educators foster both foundational literacy skills, and intrinsic motivation. Okay, ultimately, guys, transforming students into fluent critical readers depends on moving beyond passive decoding toward active strategies like summarizing, repeated reading, and structured peer collaboration. Okay, so to as an end up to this lesson, okay, I'd like to leave you something that to teach reading is to give students the key to lifelong learning by thoughtfully combining diagnostic assessment, explicit strategy instruction, and engaging classroom practices. We do more than just build stronger readers. We empower our students confident, critical they will become critical thinkers who are equipped to motivate the world, or to navigate, okay, because we have motivated them to navigate the world, okay, okay? Because uh, learning does not take place inside the classroom only. So we have to show them the world. So they have to navigate the world. So I hope you've learned something in our discussion. Take note that effective reading instruction doesn't happen by chance. It happens by design. So when we equip our learners with the right strategies, scaffolds, and freedom of choice, we turn passive decoders into active, lifelong readers. So I hope you learned something for today's discussion. Again, bye everyone. Okay, thank you. Let me stop sharing now. Bye.